I'm Shannon Cake with WPTV NewsChannel 5, and welcome to this casual roundtable chat this morning about the amazing organization called Wounded Veterans Relief Fund. We're so excited to be part of this event today. We're hosting an all-day telethon on all of our platforms for the Wounded Veterans Relief Fund. It's an organization founded right here, started right here in our community, now stretches the entire Sunshine State, lifting up our veterans at their greatest time of need. So we're really honored and feel privileged to be part of this all-day telethon on air on WPTV NewsChannel 5. You'll see stories about our local vets there, and of course on our Facebook feeds and all of our platforms across the board today. So welcome. Thanks for joining us this afternoon. Before we get started, it's my privilege and honor now to welcome in my co-host for this event, the amazing, the talented Brian Edwards of the United Way of Palm Beach County. He's also a Marine Corps veteran, so no better leader to navigate us through this incredible discussion this morning. Hi, Brian.
Good morning, Shannon. Thank you so much. Shannon, it's awesome to be with you again this year. And even though we're not at the ball, the annual ball for which this virtual telethon is kind of replacing, we'll talk more about that shortly. Let me start by saying thank you for all your years of servant leadership and supporting the Wounded Veteran Relief Fund Ball and the veterans of this community. We appreciate you, and we definitely appreciate WPTV this morning for allowing us this opportunity to do the ball. I have some information to share with the viewers. Go right into it. We want to make sure that all our viewers know that the phone lines are open until 8 p.m. this evening. The telethon call-in number for our viewers is 561-273-1144. That is 561-273-1144. Our donors can also text veteran to code 72727. That's veteran code 72727 right on their screen there. And ladies and gentlemen, our goal this year is $300,000. That's right, $300,000. You will be hearing so much this morning and throughout the day from WPTV, both on Facebook, as Shannon mentioned, and live on TV about where your donations go. And Shannon, lastly, for our viewers here with this intro, is that we do have a matching grant of $50,000. That's quite a head start, right?
It really is. So we're just, we should point out, Brian, of course, we all understand we're coming to you virtually. It's 2020. We understand that this is a tough time for a lot of people out there. So we have big goals. We have great hopes for raising, a chunk of money for our veterans across the Sunshine State. We should emphasize, as we talk about these big dollar amounts, that there is no dollar amount that's too small. You would not believe the efforts and links that the organizers of this organization go to make sure that your money goes straight into the pockets of the veterans. I mean, shoestring operation in terms of, I've never seen anything like it, Brian. You and I talk about it all the time in terms of a nonprofit that just really streamlines their operations to make sure the money goes straight to the veterans.
It really does. And Shannon, if I know as we proceed, I look behind you and I see the Christmas tree. And I just want to remind the viewers as they're making their decisions about a donation today, it is the holiday season. And as we celebrate our veterans, we got men and women all over the planet who are deployed and who will be transitioning back to civilian life at some point. But we want to keep those people in our hearts and our minds, and remind our viewers to think about their own loved ones that might be a veteran or was a veteran as they consider a donation today.
And we have people joining us right now making comments. Sarah Taylor jumped on with us a couple of minutes ago. We have several people making comments already in the feed, in the chat, as we continue our our roundtable discussion here, Brian. And thank you, Sarah, for jumping on. We do appreciate all of our vets. If you're joining us and you want to jump in the chat, mention a service member that you're thinking about right now as you're listening with us. And it was really exciting to hear from the executive director, Mike Durkee, this morning, Brian. I got the text early this morning because the phone lines opened, the donation lines opened early this morning. And it was fun to hear from him a text this morning that he had folks in Baghdad who were watching and jumping online as we were doing some of the coverage and opening the phone lines this morning. That was really fun. Samaranata Johnson says, thanks to our veterans. Thanks for our veterans and our president. That comes from Samaranata Johnson. I apologize for getting your name wrong there. I'm sure I didn't get it exactly right, but we appreciate you joining us just the same. So lots of love coming in right now, Brian, and I'm excited to host this hour with you. We want to get a bit better perspective to people. If you're not familiar with Wounded Veterans Relief Fund and the mission, my colleague at WPTV News Channel 5, Arthur Mondale, whom you've just met a couple moments ago, Brian, spent the last week getting to know the executive director, Mike Durkee, General Shellberg, who is one of the founders of the organization, and some of the veterans who've been blessed by WVRF as well. Let's take a look at his work and his interaction with those vets this week.
Absolutely.
Whew. Got 2 jobs to go to, 9 to 5 and 5 to 9.
Disabled Army veteran Damon Thomas is a single father who welcomes being preoccupied by 2 jobs. He's still haunted by the ghost of Christmas past.
I couldn't pay my rent at the time at the job that I was working. I only had 1 job and I was getting behind on rent.
His PTSD and unhealed scar from the war in Iraq was also taking a toll on him.
I actually lost 7 battle buddies over there.
And he had no vehicle.
Buses back and forth, it was just a nightmare.
In 2017, he called Wounded Veterans Relief Fund to escape the bad dream. They gave him this truck in 2019, but there's others like him in needs.
I have a veteran that we just got out of Florida. We're going to have to help him with like 2 different things.
Senior case manager Alana Leon handles referrals like Damon coming in from Department of Veterans Affairs medical centers across the state. 70% of the funds allocated by Wounded Veterans Relief Fund goes to basic living expenses, helping veterans like Mary Dolores Montgomery, who lives in Jacksonville and suffers from a brain tumor.
I have more bad days than good days.
Mike Durkee is executive director of Wounded Veterans Relief Fund, an organization run by veterans unsatisfied with the number of veterans in survival mode.
With the suicide rate up, and especially now during COVID, unfortunately, the suicide rate has gone up 20%.
They have earned the right for us to help them because they have done things for them that many people have not.
Retired General Robert Shellberg is the fund's board of directors president. He zeroed in on the issues facing today's veteran and now collaborates with agencies like CareerSource.
Finding a job actually is more than just giving a check to help with rent. It's helping with a life.
But tomorrow I'll do it all over again.
Arthur Mondale, WPTV, News Channel 5.
Well, thank you so much, Arthur. Shannon, that was incredible coverage, and it really does briefly tell the story about what we're going to be presented with today and throughout this day during this telethon. And by the way, I want to thank Arthur for his service as well. Great coverage and incredible.
A veteran himself. We'll bring him back in and chat with him in a few minutes because Brian, he said it was one of the best assignments he's had all month was getting to meet Mike Durkee and some of these vets. And so we'll bring him in and chat with him in a bit. But yeah, he's also a veteran. It was
getting to see firsthand the work they do. Well, the opportunity here to introduce the executive director, Mike Durkee of the Wounded Veteran Relief Fund is coming up. And let me just start by saying, Mike, to the viewers that Mike is a combat tested veteran, helicopter pilot. He understands not only what it's like to be deployed and be in these circumstances, but he also has a heart as big as his body. He's the right person for the job. Mike, please share with us some of the work that you do at Wounded Veteran Relief Fund.
Right. So big body and big heart. Yeah, I love that. So, again, I want to thank WPTV. I want to thank Shannon Cake, Natalie, Arthur Mondale, so many people at WPTV for even making this possible today. As you know, COVID-19 has affected so many of us individually. and also, our small businesses as well. And now, the uncertainty of getting another relief bill is still out there, and so many people struggling. And, my heart goes out to all of them. And, I just want to thank you for making this possible. At this time, like you said, we would have our ball right now, and we would have that whole ballroom filled of our gracious donors and supporters. And just unfortunately, we don't have that this year. And again, with WPTV really stepping up and helping us out, it's tremendous. And I thank the callers this morning that came in and shared some of their thoughts with us, and they were so touching. Gets me going. So
he's already crying, Brian. I thought I was going to have to ask him a really tough question, and he's already crying for us.
Oh God! All right, I'm going to stop.
So a heart as big as his body and tears as big as his body too.
Yeah,
Mike, I want to ask you a question, Mike, and don't get me crying. I'm a co-host with Shannon Cake. Yeah. Don't put me in an awkward situation here. Mike, it's the holiday season. We've lived through holidays in an overseas deployed scenario, and but it's also a situation where those veterans who are transitioning back to civilian life. Can you talk a little bit about the timing of our virtual ball and what it's like for some of the veterans going through the holiday season with these different needs?
Right. So, the timing with the ball right now is where this is our largest fundraising time. And because we didn't have the ball, it really sets us back quite a bit. Again, I mentioned COVID-19 affected all of us. It affected many nonprofit organizations. And a lot of times, we bring our funding in through having so many events, fundraising events, and so many have been canceled throughout the year. Usually we have about 40 to 60 events. I would say about 93% of those have been canceled. And the few that we did have were scaled back quite a bit just because of the distancing and again, people just being afraid of contracting the COVID-19. But it is so crucial for our viewers and our donors to support us right now, because it's the end of the year. It's to help our veterans through the season here, this wonderful holiday season. And the money also continues on to support our veterans into 2021 as well. And again, that's why it's so crucial. Our veterans coming back from multiple deployments. I've talked to veterans that have 6-7 deployments overseas, seeing things that most humans thankfully don't get to see. But they're coming back and they have to transition, and it's so hard for them to take off that uniform and to try to find their purpose in life. And we'll talk more about purpose for veterans, but trying to figure out who am I now, and what is my mission? What is my new mission?
And we should. I want to say, Mike, because I don't think it's been totally clear. You get a call for somebody that they're in danger of maybe the lights being turned off in their home. You show up with a check and get those lights back on. You have a vet standing at CVS. They can't afford to fill their prescription. You go down. Mike Durkee is the guy who gets in his car and goes down and writes the check and hands it to CVS to get the needed medicine for the vet. I mean, these are the kind of stopgap measures where other organizations, they do great work, but it takes time, and sometimes there's red tape. And this is that stopgap, just kind of stand in the gap place where vets have nowhere else to go, and Wounded Veterans Relief Fund steps in and literally makes the difference between whether or not they're going to be homeless tomorrow. And you do that. You're the leader of this organization.
Well, we do that, and I have a great team that helps me out as well. I have Alana Leon. She's a Navy veteran, and she's our senior case manager here. You're going to hear from her later on today. But I couldn't do this without my incredible team. We go around the state. We meet with the VAs. We have an incredible relationship with the VA medical centers and their outlying clinics throughout our state of Florida. And, we work with the social workers directly. And just to kind of put it in perspective, our veterans that are struggling, they'll walk into the VA, they'll walk in and talk to their social worker and really just pour their heart out to them and say, this is what's going on in my life. And, a lot of times they've been going out without electricity during the summertime. It's so hot outside, 100 and some degrees out there, no electricity. We have older veterans that we're now also taking care of since last year in July. We're now accepting applications from all era veterans. So we have Vietnam era veterans that will call us, and the VA will call us and say the lights have been shut off. Their medical equipment that need to be run by electricity cannot run. So how fast can you turn these lights on? And with our partnership with FP&L, we can get those lights turned on literally once we get the call, literally that within an hour.
Wow.
We've had within 30 minutes, we've had lights back on. So, it's an amazing organization. We help out so quickly. There's not a whole lot of other organizations that can really help out as quickly as we can. And what's wonderful too is we love the support of United Way. So we love you guys too.
Thank you, Mike. I just want to say you're blessed during this telethon to have a anonymous donor that stepped up with $50,000. And you need a lot more money, but can you just speak to how incredible that is to have someone step up and do that for you?
I mean, it's so heartwarming to know that people are out there, that there's organizations and foundations that they're out there, and they really have our backs. They understand our mission. They love our mission. And like I said, we're lean and mean. We go all over the place. We pay the creditors, and we get to get wonderful gifts and grants like this today. It's amazing.
Thank you. That's great.
Great work. And we want to mention again, Brian, you and I have talked so many times about, I have a couple of programs jumping up on my screen, so I apologize. Phone lines are open right now, 273-1144. You can dial in right now. We have a team ready to take a call, and no donation is too small today. As you just heard, the need is really great and tremendous. And Mike, you guys started here in South Florida filling needs of local vets, and the calls were just incredible that you had to expand statewide. You really felt the need all across the state, right?
Right. So the thing is that, our work and our mission really spread throughout the VAs, and we've had other places. At the time we were only like you said, just servicing South Florida area, but we had other social workers throughout the state calling us and saying, can we get some assistance here? And we just didn't have enough dollars at that point to really expand. But when you work hard and you stay true to the mission, your heart's in it, and your passion, and people, come to your aid and they want to give you more money.
Right.
More funding. It's awesome.
Because you know what, the way you operate, I'll never forget the story, Brian. When I first met this team leading this organization, one of the very first board meetings for your board that advises you, you do have a board that advises you, community leaders, made up of community leaders, and certainly General Shellberg at the helm as well, right alongside you. But literally, I want to impress upon those of you who are joining us that they were having a board meeting in a garage with a table. They were literally swatting flies in the summer in July because they didn't want to spend money. They didn't want to spend any money coming in on an air conditioning unit. Finally, a donor came in and said, "Hey guys, they were an air conditioning company, and said, let me put an AC in here so you guys can work through, the summer months of South Florida." We don't need to say any more about that. It's just shoestring budget. 86% of the money that comes in still goes out to the vets.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yes. Right. I remember the flies and the mosquitoes coming in during the board meetings, and it was almost unbearable, but you do what you have to do to make the mission happen. And most of us here at the organization, I would say about 96 or 95% are all veterans, and like General Shellberg and so many more. We have a few admirals on our board as well, but we also have some incredible community leaders here, like Lauren Bergson. She's with the Gold Star families, and she, as so many people know, she does such an amazing work here in our community, and she does great things for our organization and our veterans as well. Huge heart. I love it.
Mike, serving on the board while I did was one of the greatest honors of my life, really, and the work that happens for veterans, the smiles on their faces and their families' faces when they get some help is it's just priceless. It's just priceless. So thank you and the board for all the work that you're doing. I know we're going to be hearing more, throughout the day, but thank you for sharing more about the work that you're doing. You're an amazing leader. You got an amazing team, and you got an amazing board for sure.
Very blessed, yes, and we have a wonderful news station here too. So
I can't disagree with that. And even though we want people to stay on our live stream, we definitely want them to know that if they do want to take that break to make that donation, they can go to the telethon by going to WPTV.com/woundedvets. And we want to keep that going for sure. There it is on your screen, ladies and gentlemen. Take some time and make that presentation.
And you can also dial. Go ahead, Mike. Go right ahead.
Well, I just also wanted to just kind of shed some light on what we're seeing right now with our veterans. Usually it's like 1 month's rent, but now it's really 2 months, maybe even 3 months rent that we have to now cover. So, it could be quite a bit of money, but it's just amazing when you can step in, when you're helping the veteran, you're also helping out the wife or the husband and the children and the service dog and the whole family. And when you know that they're stressed out, they have anxiety, they don't know how they're going to get out of the situation. They don't want their credit to be ruined even more so. They don't want to be evicted and now be living out of a car. So many veterans were living out of a car, but we're stepping in and helping them out. And as soon as they hear, like they're on the other end of that telephone, and as soon as you tell them, you know what, we received your file is complete, and you are now approved. Just hearing that word approved is amazing. And you hear that sudden silence, and then all of a sudden the tears are just flowing out there, and it's crazy. It's wonderful.
Thank you, Mike.
Yeah.
Mike, I know we're going to bring you back for the 3 p.m. segment. We want to bring the viewers back. We're going to talk to you more about learning more. And I know what's in store for the rest of the day, but thank you for sharing a little bit. And thank you for your time, and thank you for all that you do. And Shannon.
Thank you.
Yeah, and Brian, just you and I squeezing together here. Mike will see in just a bit. One thing I know for sure about Mike Durkee, if you talk to his wife, is what keeps him up at night is thinking about the vets when he doesn't have the money to help them. Right. So our phone lines are open, 561-273-1144. You can also text the word veteran to 72727. Once again, you can text veteran to 72727. We can't stress enough. Our goal is $300,000 for this all-day telethon, which was replacing the largest fundraising event for this grassroots organization that steps in and to that gap when veterans needed the help the very most. That's what we're doing here today. And we're trying to replace that revenue that they typically get in a non-pandemic season. So hoping that we can hit that goal today for sure. We'll do the very best we can, but we appreciate all of you at home. We know it is a tough time for everyone. So if you're able to help, we certainly appreciate it. And we appreciate the comments coming in too, Brian. I know you're keeping an eye on some of them as they start to roll in. If you are joining us here on this platform, we ask that if you're thinking of a vet as you're joining us this afternoon in our roundtable chat, throw up the name of the veteran you're thinking about as we celebrate our veterans and all they provide us, all of our freedoms. Who are you thinking about right now? Throw up, share the name with us in the chat that we have going on this afternoon. All right. We're going to bring in an awesome vet. Speaking of awesome veterans, Jake Campoo, Brian will see in just a bit. Jake Campoo, I believe, is in-house at Wounded Veterans Relief Fund headquarters. Is that right, Jake? Or no, you're in your headquarters. You're in your company's headquarters. All right. I've got to keep track of all this new digital space and where everybody is. Listen, this man is such an impressive guy. Jake Campoo, a Marine Corps veteran himself. And actually, you were at one point, we'll talk about your company in just a minute and the incredible work you do and how you bless other people. But talk a little bit about how Wounded Veterans Relief Fund actually stepped in and helped you at a critical time.
Well, transitioning out of the military is probably one of the toughest things that we can do, and a lot of us have gone to war. The trials and tribulations that are placed in front of us, we're just not fully prepared for. Having that camaraderie, having that friendship with others that we can fully trust, almost completely removed, and ask you to be placed in a situation that's uncomfortable. Well, usually we adapt and overcome. And sometimes, as in what a lot of our veterans are facing, we don't. And it takes a lot for us to admit that we need any type of help. And I struggled over and over until I met who we were just discussing, that wonderful man, Mike Durkee. I had just started the organization, and for me, it was give, okay? Sacrifice in order to help others. This is something that I learned from the military, you know, sacrificing something for something greater than myself. Well, I put myself in a tough situation, and I was close to losing my vehicle and getting my power turned off. And finally, I reached out to Mike, and he almost smacked me. He goes, "What have you been waiting on? You know we're here to help." And I tell you that Mike has been not only my savior in many financial burdens, but he's been a motivator and somebody that's inspired me to continue doing what we can for our veterans and the community.
So you had started a company called United Dream. It's a video production company with the express purpose of helping out charities to raise money. That was what you were doing. And you're saying that you fell on tough times yourself and realized, I mean, I know our military men and women, like you mentioned, it is impossible for them to admit they need help and then even ask, hearing the words come out of their mouth. They're such disciplined individuals that it's hard to even hear themselves. What was that like for you?
I was a squad leader of over 30 men in Fallujah, Iraq. I was doing whatever I could to sacrifice myself for the betterment of my soldiers. I was never going to admit that I didn't have the tools in order to take care of them. And now a tool that we have as civilians is, you know, taking care of our finances. And the last thing I wanted to do was reach out to somebody else other than myself to ask for help. Well, you know, through the trials and tribulations of life, again, you find out what really matters and what's really important. You take the values that you've learned from the military and put them in today's world, as in, okay, you know your brothers would have helped you in war. You know your brothers are going to help you here. Yeah. And that's what Mike has done for not only myself, but thousands of veterans in the 10 years that they've been
in serving our community.
Yes, I'm sorry, I didn't want to interrupt you.
No, not at all. I apologize. My question, though, is if that financial aid had not been provided to you, in that, again, it was just that bridge for you for a period of time because you were about to lose your car, you said, and have the lights turned off in your home. If that had not been provided, where do you think you'd be right now?
Geez. I mean, besides the actual of losing my vehicle, I know that mentally I would have been so extremely distressed and down and depressed that who knows if I would have dug myself out of that situation, because as you're going to as you probably know, and you're going to find out today, we are extremely hard on ourselves. We're unable to pick ourselves up as quickly as we did in the service, and when something bad happens, we tend to struggle with it a little longer than need be, because we're so used to having our brothers and our sisters take care, help us out in our tough situations. And we're used to handling things on our own.
Absolutely.
And I definitely would be in a situation of dire need.
And so right before we came to air during one of our planning meetings for this session, Mike Durkee, the executive director who we just chatted with a short time ago, shared a number with me. And I'm sure it won't surprise you that 300,000 veterans are on the verge of homelessness in this country. And you're saying to us, you literally were there yourself.
Absolutely. I mean, a part of Unified Dream, our nonprofit, is that we help veterans find a purpose again through community service. And another part is the video aspect to it. But I have seen veterans living off cans and ramen noodles and living almost in a shed before they said, Jake, hey, brother, I need some help. Do you know anybody? Can you help? And thankfully, with relationships that we've built with the Wounded Veterans Relief Fund and other amazing nonprofits here in South Florida, we've been able to help our local veterans in need.
It's just incredible. And I really appreciate you coming on and being so honest and raw with your feelings, because I really think that sometimes, when you're considering making a donation somewhere, you're wondering where the money's going. Is it really helping? And without your testimonial and you sharing, how critical that was. And I love the fact that what Wounded Veterans Relief Fund is trying to do is prevent homelessness, that if we can just give you that little bit of money, right, to get you through that bridge area. These are not people who want to live off any kind of system. They want to be independent. They're trained leaders and they want to get back out and be productive citizens. And that's what you're saying this company or this nonprofit is doing and did for you. Hey, Jake, we just got a $10,000 donation that just came in.
That's incredible. Wow. Thank you so much. That's incredible.
During your testimonial, a $10,000 donation came in. So we can't thank you enough. The phone lines are open, 273-1144. Before I let you go, Jake, tell me very quickly about your amazing company, Unified Dream. I want to plug it real quick.
I appreciate that. Unified Dream is a 501c3 nonprofit founded here in South Florida. We provide manpower and media to organizations in need of help through the support of United States veterans. I, myself, and many others, we struggle to find a purpose once we get out of the service. And what our organization does is try and help veterans find that purpose again through helping the community. And another mission, because I've realized that nonprofits struggle to find volunteers. They struggle to raise awareness on what they do for a living and what they're doing for the community and raising funds. And I knew the value of video, and I knew that we could capture their story to help unite the whole world and bring veterans back into that place, into that place to where they felt they were actually serving the community. They were leading others. They were making a difference.
Thank you so much for starting that organization, Jake. You do amazing work. You feel such a great need, and what a win-win all the way around. Incredible storytelling that drives message and helps people, and you hire our vets. So grateful to you, your service, your sacrifice, and all that you've done for our community. Really grateful for your time, Jake. Appreciate it.
I'm grateful for you. Thank you so much for this time. I appreciate it. We definitely could use the support. Our veterans are in great need. And as you're going to discuss further on today, COVID has put us in a more difficult situation. And without a purpose, which is a job, we struggle hard. So your donation will go to helping veterans overcome another month of trials and tribulations.
Jake, thanks so much for your time. We appreciate you so much, sir. Jake Campoo with Unified Dream. The phone lines are open, 561-273-1144. We're taking your donations right now. You can also go to WPTV.com/woundedvets and get all the information you need about our all-day telethon right here on WPTV News Channel 5. We're on this platform this afternoon, so if you're just joining us, jump on and chat with us. Let us know what veteran you're celebrating and honoring as you listen in with us today. What is their name? Where did they serve? who you're thinking about as you're joining us today. You're thinking of Sergeant Jonathan Shields. Thank you, Saba. We appreciate you posting in the chat there, and we're keeping tabs on all your comments as they come through. I want to get back to my co-host, the amazing Brian Edwards, who I keep trying to recruit for broadcasting jobs, because when you hear him talk, well, I hope the Channel 5, News Channel 5 managers are listening. I think that we need, Brian Edwards, his pipes as part of our team.
Dan, I am just in your shadow. Let me tell you what a powerful interview that was with Jake. That is so powerful, and what a great opportunity for someone listening in and then making a $10,000 donation to this telethon today. And the one thing I know during this telethon, we only have so many opportunities to talk with veterans. But because of the Wounded Veterans Relief Fund, there are a lot of Jakes out there. There's a lot of veterans and families that they have helped. And I know that Mike Durkee and his team would love to have everybody share their success story as a result of being helped during their transition period. So, absolutely, ladies and gentlemen, 561-273-1144. Call in, go to WPTV.com, Wounded Vet. Let's get to this $300,000 range and exceed this goal today. And Shannon, again, I'm only walking in your shadow, but I also want to say that I have the privilege of introducing another United States Marine Corps vet, Semper Fidelis, hoorah, and talk a little bit about his work and how he's worked with the Wounded Veterans Relief Fund. I want to introduce Wade Whittick, Wade Whittick, owner of Evolution Fitness in Boca Raton. Wade, thank you for being here today. I'm excited about being around all these Marines too. You know, we got I don't know during your period in the service, Wade, but we got this term, the color purple, right? And really, we all work together, all veterans, all services, and it got to that point. But can you share with us a little bit about being here today?
Yes, Brian, it's always good to see you. Semper Fi. I came across the Wounded Veteran Relief Fund after the first year we put on our Devil Dog 5K. At that time, we supported another charity. Then we heard of Mike Durkee and the wonderful things he was doing in our backyard in West Palm here. And we connected with Mike, got to come up and see exactly what was being talked about earlier, which was they're in a little warehouse with no air conditioning, trying to save on all costs. So all the money coming in actually goes to wounded veterans that need financial assistance, and got to see some of the inner workings of the organization and just Mike's passion for really trying to help veterans that are struggling financially. And to get to see an organization grow and do the things that it does and how it impacts our veterans, it just makes me tremendously proud to maintain my relationship and to work alongside and help support such a great organization like this.
Wade, I know, with a company like Evolution Fitness, physical and mental abilities of anybody's important, but can you share a little bit about, your personal feelings and why you do what you do and how you're feeling about the physical and the mental well-being of veterans going through their transition back to civilian life?
It's a great question. And one of the things that we talk about often on our podcast, Two Marines, One Mike, is connecting with other veterans. And one of the great ways to do that is that component of fitness, right? Keeping ourselves physically fit, mentally sharp. So finding local, smaller facilities like your CrossFits, your Orange Theories, or like Evolution Fitness, you can be part of a new community and help you through that process of transition. And you'll often find there are many veterans there. I have a veteran sitting off camera right now to my left and to my right that are both part of my gym. They work alongside me every single day. And you get to build new relationships with people that are civilians as well as other like-minded veterans. And I always talk about this with my co-host on the podcast, that is so important as we make that transition out of the military to keep fitness in our life. And a great way to do that is to find some of those local, smaller businesses. Trust me right now, because of 2020 and COVID, any smaller gym would love to take on new members. So if you've lost your way, January is around the corner. It's important for our veterans to stay physically fit. That is what makes our military the best one in the world, is that component. So find a local small business that is a gym. You could be part of a new community, and you'll often find a lot of veterans there that want to still maintain that physical edge that we have when we're in service, and keep that and maintain it after.
Well, thank you. You're getting quite a few comments. You got a lot of people out there. Somebody just said, "Hell yeah, Wade Whittick." So you got a lot of comments coming in on social media with your followers. And here's Sabo. Let's go, Wade. Get some. So you obviously are inspiring a lot of people, but I also know that you inspire Mike and his team for the Wounded Veteran Relief Fund too, Wade. And can you talk a little more in detail about the Devil Dog 5K?
Yes, sir. The Devil Dog 5K is a race that we put on. This year it was virtual. Obviously COVID's changed everything across the entire world. But we still had a magnificent turnout. We were able to raise just under $10,000 for the Wounded Veteran Relief Fund. We plan on bringing it back next year. It will be in September in South County Regional Park, which is in the beautiful Boca Raton, Florida. On average, we have 1,000 runners out there, 50 vendors, 200 volunteers. We do something a little bit different you don't normally see at 5Ks. We offer a formation style run. So if you ever served in the service or like to align yourself with veterans and active duty, we offer an option to not run for time, but to run with a bunch of veterans and active duty and sing some of those good old cadences that we used to sing when we're in our branch. And trust me, there's some very comical banter that goes on in that formation with having various branches. But that race, all the money, 100% of the money that comes into us goes straight to the Wounded Veteran Relief Fund, which 86 cents on the dollar goes to veterans in need. And this year, more than ever, we need your help.
I love it. You almost had me going right into low rider, low rider, low rider, low. You almost had me getting up going into a formation run style. Hey, Wade, I'm going to bring Shannon back in with us before we let you go and transition back to Shannon. If we could bring Shannon, Shannon.
I left my mic open as I was telling my kids to get ready to make a donation here. I was behind the scenes organizing. I was doing mom duty, and you're lucky you didn't hear me say, "Did you eat your oatmeal and all your vitamins?"
Shannon, we're asking everybody on listening in to tell us a little bit about a veteran that means something to them. And as we let Wade go and transition here, I wanted to ask Wade, is there anybody, a veteran in your own family, in your own life, that you would like to share today, that you would like to recognize during this telethon?
I'd like to allow them both to squeeze in the camera and say hello themselves. I'm sitting next to Angela and Phil right here, both Marine Corps Combat Infantry.
Hi, guys.
Hey.
Hoorah.
You all again.
Thank you. Thank you for all you've done for our country.
Wow, I love the bow tie.
Oh, hey, it's a ball. It's a virtual ball. And we're with Shannon Cake. When you're co-hosting with Shannon Cake and Marine, for a Marine, it's like get dressed up for the ball, gentlemen. But Semper Fidelis, thank you all three for your service. Wade, thank you for all that you and your team does for the Wounded Veteran Relief Fund. And thank you for coming on. And one more time, if you don't mind, share with us a little bit about your company and what you're doing there with Evolution Fitness.
Yeah, so before I do that, I do want to share one personal story. We host a workout every single Saturday. This goes to any veteran or active duty, but every Saturday we have what we call Savage Saturday at 0930 Evolution Fitness in Boca. It's a free workout for veterans and active duty. There's been a lot of people that have come out and been able to seek employment through the networking capabilities of something like that. We go around, we do a brief introduction. There's a lot of retired veterans that come that have access to jobs. So if you're a local veteran or active duty and uncertain where your next duty station is going to be, or if you might be getting out and transitioning here in South Florida, it's a great opportunity to come out, connect with vets, and potentially get jobs, exchange business with amongst the group. But one of the days, Mike Durkee came out there, and we like to feature non-for-profits, and obviously we believe in the Wounded Veteran Relief Fund. And he kind of talked a little bit about what he does as an organization. And one of the veterans said last month they paid his rent, and he'd be homeless right now. So,
Wow.
you know, if some of the stories you hear today motivate you or inspire you or touch you at all, I ask that. I know it's been a rough year for everyone in 2020, but if you have the capabilities and means to make a donation to this organization, we work with a lot of organizations. This is hands down the best organization that we have ever worked with that help our veterans in financial need. So this holiday season, it is the season of giving. Any little bit and every little bit helps. If you cannot donate anything, then the next step would be look for veterans to hire within your business, because that can go a long way as well.
Wade, thank you for sharing that, not only personal story, but tell us a little bit about what you do. Again, as we thank you for your service, your comments, and certainly those two devil dogs you just had on the screen there. We wish you a great holiday season, and everybody in your family and theirs as well. Shannon? Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Brian. Well, I want to shout out, before you go, Brian, I want to shout out to my father, Don Cake, a career Army officer. And certainly my mother served right alongside them, as the spouses always do. So I'm honoring them today, as well as my husband, Dr. Joe Jaimu, who served in the Navy. So I'm thinking about them each year, that I'm honored to be part of this Wounded Veterans Relief Fund event. So thanks, Brian, for co-hosting with me each and every year.
Thank you, and thank you for sharing that too, Shannon.
Yeah,
I want to cut away. I'm sorry.
Go ahead. Go right ahead.
I said I think I'm going to cut away for a second, but I want to, I want to give thanks to those in your family that served as well. That's awesome.
Well, I'm thanking Arthur Mondale, and I know you're stepping away for just a second, but when you get back, just let the producers know you're back, because I'd love for you to be part of this chat with Arthur. I know the two of you just connected, but as we mentioned earlier, if you're just joining us, my colleague Arthur Mondale is a veteran himself, and he was assigned to cover the Wounded Veteran Relief Fund stories earlier this week that we'll be profiling on WPTV News Channel 5 throughout this day. Started early this morning at 6:30, and then we'll have another piece going of yours later on this afternoon. Arthur, it's so good to have you with us. Thanks for jumping on.
Thank you very much.
You're giving us your morning here, and you're going to be running and gunning out there later today. So
of course. Of course. Always.
One of the best reporters in South Florida. Great story.
Thank you. Thank you. You're the best anchor, I'm telling you.
Well, thank you so much. Well, I know that I heard through the grapevine that you had shared with some of our producers back at the station that your time with the Wounded Veterans Relief Fund in the last week and a half, 2 weeks, was some of the best days of your working days in months. Tell me about that. Why?
It's the personal connection that I have to it. So I am actually a DC National Guard chief broadcaster. And so I went into the military at age 19 to see the world and to serve my country. And that is exactly what I did. I separated to get into local news, but I've been juggling both careers ever since I had worked in North Carolina. This is about a decade ago. I went back in the reserves, and then I went to the National Guard. And so, yeah, I juggled my job there, and then I juggled my job here. I've met a lot of men and women who run into these situations where they get out and the transition is not easy. The last speaker, he said, this is the season of giving. Yeah, it's the season of giving, but for some people, it's the season of stress, no hope. One of the things that I learned, 3 interviewees, the holiday time, I'd say starting like November. Bills are due, they have children, and money got real tight. And, I think people need to give, because this isn't really a handout, not a handout at all. The men and women I talked to, they had been struggling with circumstances, no vehicle, or having a hard time paying, the car payment, no house, living in a motel as a decorated war veteran. Damon Thomas, 2007, he got out. 7 people died when he was deployed in Iraq. He was living in a motel with his daughter because he's raising a child. It took him until 2017 to ask Mike for help. Yeah, so it's a decade of living motel to motel, and then you say, can you help me pay? You see what I mean? That's what I. So what happened was in 2019, they gave him a truck, so that way he could get to a better job. He now works 2 jobs. That's why he broke down in that story. If you had watched that first report that aired at 6:30, the reason why he broke down when I said the ghost of Christmas past to haunt him, he said, this is the worst time of my life, holiday season, because I was living in a hotel with my daughter and we were about to be thrown out. Not a good situation for a decorated war veteran. So he has that truck. Now he has 2 jobs. He works at the VA Medical Center as a medical assistant, but he also works at a phone center in Boynton Beach. Thanks to the Wounded Veterans Relief Fund getting him that car. He's working in overdrive. He's not trying to take the holidays off. You see what I mean? And so I heard stories like that, people rebounding, and that's what I like to hear. And then I had to take some notes. I'm not as good as my colleague, Shannon Cake. See, Shannon could just go on and rant.
Don't be silly. No.
The queen of broadcasting. I'm not. No. Okay. So, all right, before I go any further, I want to thank the team at Wounded Veterans Relief Fund for allowing me to get a behind-the-scenes look at their full operation. 5 people, veterans, work that operation 7 days a week. I don't think people, when you saw my story, you're like, oh, they're like, they answer phones. No, they answer phones around the clock, people, 7 days a week, and they're taking calls from all VA's referrals. And people have to understand, the VA, people will drop that line. Oh, why don't they just go to the VA? The VA provides health care. It is not a social service agency. It is not there when you can't pay your car payment. It's not there when you need that mortgage payment and you and your wife and kids might be thrown out, or you and your husband might be thrown out. That's not the purpose of the VA. So I want to clarify that. That's why this is very important to give to this type of telethon. And then I spoke to people like Alana Leon, the senior case manager who takes some referrals daily from the VA. She gave me this quote. Listen to this. She goes, everything adds up, Arthur. Some of these veterans are completely disabled and can't work. Some people are choosing between feeding themselves and keeping their water on. What? Monetarily, it could just be a tank of gas to you, but it's food for them. Then she says, yeah, but
it's mind-numbing to me. It's mind-numbing to me. These men and women have given us our freedom, and they're living like this.
Like this. When we pay their car payment, that means they can still go to interviews. No matter how much or how little you decide to give, every dollar is extremely crucial to what we work towards. That's what she told me. Then I want to go into the results that we're also seeing. 2 Purple Heart recipients. Now, the Purple Heart is, I wish Mike was on the line with me. It's up there. I'm a military member. You can be awarded it posthumously. You could be killed in war and you'll be given it. If you're injured in battle, you're given it. I spoke to 2 who got it. So these are the creme de la creme. Our freedom is because of them. One of them was searching for Osama bin Laden in the caves of Afghanistan and Pakistan. And he needed the Wounded Veterans Relief Fund. You see what I'm talking about? Yes. What happened to him was he lost his job in March. Then COVID happened. Hasn't had an interview since. How does that happen?
Right.
With the level of experience that man has in catching one of the most notorious terrorists on the globe, that's what I'm talking about. Right. He needed to get his mortgage paid over the summer twice. That's all he wanted. And he says, Arthur, admitting that I needed help to me was admitting failure. He says, but I had to get over it. And he's encouraging others to do the same. This is what he exactly told me. He goes, to ask for help is admitting failure. And in the military, failure isn't an option. I needed my battle buddy to help pick me up. And that's what the Wounded Veterans Relief Fund was. Isn't that?
That's perfect.
Phenomenal. Absolutely loved it. Okay. Then last week, he also told me this. He said he's hopeful now and looking forward to start his own business and re-entering his career field. Powerful stuff right there. And so I sincerely want to thank Christopher McCarthy, the Hammer. You're going to hear about more from Mr. McCarthy in the 5:30 newscast. His story will resonate with you. I also want to thank Damon Thomas. I want to thank Thomas Reynolds, who now works in human resources in California. People probably saying, well, if he's not in Florida, why'd they help him? Okay. Before he got the job in HR in California, which was earlier this year, last November, he's a Purple Heart recipient as well. Yes, searching for global terrorists, part of why we are free in this nation right here. And even he needed help paying his mortgage. Yes, They did it. That helped him fund schooling that he needed. And now he's the human resources director for a drone company in California. Phenomenal. Then you got married Dolores Montgomery. She's still unemployed. Now, she has a brain tumor. When I was doing her interview, Shannon, she told me, she goes, I got a headache. The light's starting to get to me. I can't deal with these noises. I don't want to do this interview with you. But she persevered. That's how bad things are for her. And so she took her years. I think she got out the military around 2015. It took her 4 or 5 years to reach out to Mike and say, you know what? I'm piecing together jobs, piecing together money. Can you help me pay my light bill? Can you help me keep the roof over my head? And they came through for her. And
it's giving them a breath for just so they can breathe.
That's
just a little bit of buffer so they can breathe and have steady land. I mean, for these men and women to fight for our freedom and then not have a piece of land that they fought for,
absolutely,
it's always just, that haunts me.
Yes, unimaginable. Yep.
I want to bring back in Brian Edwards. He's ready to jump back in here because, Arthur, you have shined a light on these stories with your energy and your unique perspective as being a veteran. Brian, I don't know if you were able to listen into some of the nuggets that Arthur was really blessed to experience in the last
every word of everything Arthur said, I was latched onto because first off, Arthur, the way that you tell the story, you not only show it in your work, but the way you tell the story is just beautiful because you do great justice to those that are served, not only by the military, also by the Wounded Veteran Relief Fund. You're telling their story and you're telling why the Wounded Veteran Relief Fund exists.
Yes.
And fill in that gap between what people might envision, say, a veteran administration being able to do that they can't. So thank you for the powerful way of sharing these stories. It is not only inspirational, but it really does justice for you as a veteran, and thank you for your service, but also for our brothers and sisters that serve and what they're going through, sometimes due to unfortunate circumstances of post-traumatic stress disorder, family scenarios, issues. Great job. Thank you so much.
Thank you, and thank you for your service.
Hoorah. Thank you, sir.
Walter Mondale, a superstar at WPTV News Channel 5, and as a human being in general. We appreciate you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And your time and telling great stories. Hey, the phone lines are open, 561-273-1144. Brian, we're calling in audible here because my kids came over early, and then we're gonna do them first and then go to Joe Namath, sir.
Absolutely.
I got the lead from the producers to take it and go in that direction. But if you're just joining us, we are hosting an all-day telethon here on WPTV News Channel 5. And on this platform, we're having a roundtable discussion about the incredible work that Wounded Veterans Relief Fund does right here in our community and all across the Sunshine State to prop up our veterans, give them that bridge. You heard Walter describe just a breath to come up for air so they can get their lives back on track and prevent homelessness. So the money is put to such good use. They are such good stewards of any money that you donate to this organization. Brian and I can, certainly speak to that. 561-273-1144 is the number to dial. If you'd like to text, you can text the word veteran to 72727 if you'd like to donate that way. We do have a goal of $300,000 today. And Brian Edwards, I want to bring in my two boys. My family is getting in on the action, the donation action today. I'll give you a quick background. A couple of years ago, this is Joseph and this is Christian. Hello, sir. Hi. And hi, everybody out there in Facebook land. So my kids a couple of years ago decided to start, instead of getting birthday presents, they thought, well, maybe we accept some donations at our birthday party. And then we choose a couple charities throughout the year that mean something to us and we make the donation, right? So this year, of course, with COVID, we didn't get to have a birthday party. So we had a drive-by social distance Nerf gun party on Halloween, right? Yeah. And the donations rolled in. So we're really excited. Why don't you tell Mr. Edwards what you're planning to donate and why?
We got $500 that we wanted to donate to the Wounded Veterans Relief Fund. And
Yeah, and that makes you feel good, doesn't it?
Yeah, it makes me feel really good to donate. It's always one of the highlights of my day.
Oh, that's so nice. And you know what, Damon Thomas, we were talking about that man who got the truck last year. You had made a donation to Wounded Veterans Relief Fund, and we just did a profile piece on him. So you know where your money went to help people like Mr. Thomas, right? And Christian, what did you want to say about your donation?
I'm so happy that I got the chance to donate this money to veterans who've gone out to fight for our country, and they've just come back with nothing to live, which is just
ridiculous, isn't it? We have to take care of our veterans who fought for us, huh?
And I think by making this donation, I hope I could help another family like I did last year.
Yes. So we're honored. We're donating $500, right, Joseph? Right. Yes. Yeah, so our little association.
Joseph, Christian, let me tell you, first you're getting a couple of comments that says, great job, future leaders right now. You probably see that on the screen. But, you know, when you say it's the highlight of what you've done, let me tell you, it's a highlight for us to witness this. I've had the honor and privilege of seeing and hearing about what you have done for the last few years now with your fundraising. And on behalf of the Wounded Veterans Relief Fund, thank you both so much. And thank you, Shannon, for doing a great job in bringing this, your servant leadership right into your family too. So it definitely is noticeable. Thank you for that.
Love this group. We love you. The phone lines are open, 561-273-1144. You can text veteran to 72727. We're taking your donations right now, and no amount is too small. Thank you, boys, so much. I'm proud to be your mom. Brian, back to you. I know you have an important little clip to pitch to now.
Absolutely. Thank you again, Christian and Joseph, and thank you, Shannon. And we are, you know, as we just heard Arthur, how powerful that was. But we have another special guest this morning that I'm honored to introduce his message via video. And we're going to cut right into it. But on behalf of the Wounded Veterans Relief Fund, please allow me to introduce Mr. Joe Namath.
Hi, folks. I'm Joe Namath, and I've teamed up with our Wounded Veterans Relief Fund. General Robert Shellberg and Mike Durkee, our executive leader, along with numerous volunteers, are reaching out and helping homeless veterans around here in Jupiter and Tequesta, throughout the state of Florida. Our wounded veterans have helped our country. They've protected us, and we need to take care of them. So for those of you out there that do have the wherewithal financially, because I know these are tough times, let's get behind it. Let's get some dollars in to help these homeless, wounded veterans. And man, all of you, stay safe out there. God bless you, and I love you.
You know, thank you. We want to thank Mr. Namath for certainly bringing that message. And Shannon, as we bring you back up to, that was a powerful message, you know, and whether you're a celebrity status or whatever, those of you who are participating in today's telethon and watching us on Facebook Live, we certainly, before we give you some final thoughts here and close out, we want to thank you for your participation. And we got a couple of things to share with everybody too, Shannon.
Yes, we do. We have, I mean, no gala would be complete without a silent auction, right? And we have some great silent auction items that we want to tell you about. And then we'll get to the shout out of our sponsors, right, Brian? So the silent auction items, I don't know if we can pop those up on the screen from behind the scenes, but some of the silent auction items, I'm kind of eyeing that massage. I could really use a massage these days. I don't know about you. I'm sure they'll do everything appropriate in terms of social distancing and just reaching and, you know, touching appropriately with a mask on. But anyway, and that wine, you know, who can't use a bottle of wine these days? There's a lot of great wines on up for grabs on this. There's a golf outing. There is Ray-Ban sunglasses, as you can see. And there's this beautiful, Brian, do you know anything about this bronze statue? I know that was at Wounded Veterans Relief Fund headquarters for a few years. It's stunning.
It is stunning, and I wish I knew more about it. Maybe we can learn about it at 3 o'clock segment, but it's beautiful. I have seen it, and it's absolutely gorgeous.
So if you want to jump online, you can go to wvrf.org, and they have a special tab for silent auction items. You can check it out and go on and pick up a Christmas gift, possibly. It is that time of year. You might have a list that you need to fill, right?
Don't we all, for sure. Absolutely. And Shannon, do you want to talk a little about the sponsors now before we go into the
final push?
Final push.
Let's do that. So the sponsors, we have great sponsors as always. And these sponsors, Brian, you fill in the gaps for me because you probably know, I think you attend more board meetings than I do. But if we could throw up the sponsor sheet, Natalie, from behind the scenes, our producer, PNC Bank is our pillar. Such a rock. NBC, Comcast, of course, Tire Kingdom, Pratt & Whitney, Earl Stewart, Toyota, Galleria Farms, Mike Durkee, if you're listening. I'm waiting on 2 other sponsors that will squeeze in at the end if you can message me, or we'll throw them up at 3 o'clock. I know there were 2 other sponsors we wanted to mention. We can't pop that sheet up right now, Brian, but we'll effort it at the 3 o'clock hit.
We'll come back to them, Shannon. Thank you so much. And also, we want to talk a little, ladies and gentlemen, we're having what we call at the ball every year, what's called a call to the heart. And we want to talk about the call to the heart. This is a telethon. It's the major replacement for our annual gala. It's the major fundraiser of the year for the Wounded Veteran Relief Fund. And we've already had a couple of generous donations of $10,000. We're going to talk about these levels and what they mean. But we also want to say that we have a matching grant from an anonymous donor of $50,000.
Yes.
For those of you out there that want to participate in the call to the heart, we have several levels that we can refer you to when you go to the website for the Wounded Veteran Relief Fund. That website, ladies and gentlemen, is www.wvrf. It'll be up on your screen there, .org/ / call to the heart / and you'll see these levels. And some of the levels that we have up there, $2,000, $1,500 is a little too small for me to see on the screen. $1,000, $500, $100. But Shannon, I know as we go through some of these and kind of emphasize the call to the heart, we're willing to take anybody's dollars, right?
Absolutely. There's no amount that's, as we heard earlier, Alondra was saying, she works with the organization. You're going to hear a lot more from her if you join us on our Facebook Live at 3 o'clock. It'll be a little shorter at the 3 o'clock hour, but you'll hear her say that, every dollar adds up. And it can mean, you heard Arthur say a gas of tank. It might just seem like a tank of gas, to you, but to a veteran who can't get to and from work, that's everything. And so it's any dollar amount, especially this time. We understand that it's a difficult time for so many people. Certainly, if you can make any of the donations you see on your screen, we'd love that. We would love $5. We'd love $1 if that's what you can do in this season. We're grateful. We're grateful, and our veterans are as well.
Absolutely. And
so
I'm sorry, Shannon, go ahead.
No, go right ahead. You close us out.
I was going to just bring us back to the phone lines. We're going to be on those phone lines, ladies and gentlemen, till 8 p.m. 561-273-1144. And you can go to WPTV.com/wounded-vets and make your telethon donation. Help us out. We're shooting for $300,000. It's needed and it is useful. So Shannon, absolutely. With that, your final words of wisdom before we sign off here.
Well, Ryan, it's an honor for to be part of this organization year after year. News Channel 5 is incredibly honored to host the all-day telethon in conjunction with the Wounded Veterans Relief Fund. And I got to thank you as my wingman year after year. A true servant's heart in Brian Edwards, and United Way of Palm Beach County is lucky to have you. I'd steal you if I could, but I think they'd fight me for you. but I appreciate you and your service to our community and your service and sacrifice for our nation. Thank you, Brian Edwards. I'll see you right back here at 3 o'clock. And to all of you at home, thanks for joining us on this platform. We have another special going at 3 o'clock. So if you'd like to join us for more stories, wonderful stories about the Wounded Veterans Relief Fund, phone lines will be open until then. We'll see you at 3. Good afternoon.
Thank you, Shannon. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.